every day is day one. Every day you're deciding what you're going to do. And you are not trapped by what you were or who you were. Self-consistency even can be a trap. And so day one thinking is we start fresh every day. And we get to make new decisions every day about invention, about customers, about how we're going to operate, what our even as deeply as what our principles are. We can go back to that. It turns out we don't change those very often, but we change them occasionally. And when we work on programs at Amazon, we often make a list of tenets. Tenets are they're not principles. They're a little more tactical than principles, but it's kind of the main ideas that we want this program to embody, whatever those are. And one of the things that we do is we put, these are the tenets for this program, unless you know a better way. And that idea, unless you know a better way, is so important because you never want to get trapped by dogma. You never want to get trapped by history. It doesn't mean you discard history or ignore it. There's so much value in what has worked in the past, but you can't be blindly following what you've done. And that's the heart of day one, is you're always starting fresh. One of the things that happens in business, you have an ongoing program and something is underway for a number of years, is you develop certain things that you're managing to. Like, let's say the typical case would be a metric. And that metric isn't the real underlying thing. And so maybe the metric is efficiency metric around customer contacts per unit sold. If you sell 1 million units, how many customer contacts do you get? Or how many returns do you get? And so on and so on. And so what happens is a little bit of a kind of inertia sets in where somebody a long time ago invented that metric. And they invented that metric. They decided we need to watch for customer returns per unit sold as an important metric. But they had a reason why they chose that metric, the person who invented that metric and decided it was worth watching. And then fast forward 5 years, that metric is the proxy. But that metric is not actually customer happiness. It's a proxy for customer happiness. The person who invented the metric understood that connection. 5 years later, kind of inertia can set in and you forget the truth behind why you were watching that metric in the first place. And the world shifts a little. And now that proxy isn't as valuable as it used to be, or it's missing something. And you have to be on alert for that. You have to know, okay, I don't really care about this metric. I care about customer happiness. And this metric is worth putting energy into and following and improving and scrutinizing only in so much as it actually affects customer happiness. And so you got to constantly be on guard. And it's very, very common. This is a nuanced problem. It's very common, especially in large companies, that they are managing to metrics that they don't really understand. They don't really know why they exist. And the world may have shifted out from under them a little. And the metrics are no longer as relevant as they were when somebody 10 years earlier invented the metric. You just have to be constantly on guard. This is a way to slip into day two thinking, would be to manage your business to metrics that you don't really understand, and you're not really sure why they were invented in the first place, and you're not sure they're still as relevant as they used to be. We humans are not really truth-seeking animals. We are social animals. Take you back in time 10,000 years and you're in a small village. If you go along to get along, you can survive. You can procreate. If you're the village truth teller, you might get clubbed to death in the middle of the night. Truths are often, they don't want to be heard because important truths can be uncomfortable. They can be awkward. They can be exhausting. They can make people defensive, even if that's not the intent. But any high-performing organization, whether it's a sports team, a business, political organization, an activist group, I don't care what it is, any high-performing organization has to have mechanisms and a culture that supports truth-telling. To literally tell people it's not what we're designed to do as humans. We mostly survive by being social animals, being cordial and cooperative, and that's really important. You know, science is all about truth-telling. It's actually a very formal mechanism for trying to tell the truth. And even in science, you find that it's hard to tell the truth.